Hey, what's going on, guys? Just wanted to post this for some clarity on your project and what that should look like, because I know some of you are still trying to wrap your brains around it. Again, I will remind you, do not overthink this. Do not make it more complicated than it is. Okay, so every single one of you were given a scenario, one of these 13. Okay, as you read through that scenario, that is in essence what you are modeling out. Okay, so what you are needing to do is create a model showing the feedback loop that is representative to your scenario. Okay, so like I had mentioned in class, the very first thing that you're going to do is you're going to Google search a Google image of your feedback loop. Okay, so for instance, let's look at number 4 here. So let's say that number 4 is your example. So Patty goes on a hike on a really hot day and her body temperature rises above homeostatic levels. Okay, so this number here at the end, this correlates with the stars up here. Okay, so these are telling you what the specific feedback loops are. These down here are your scenarios. Okay, so this goes with the third feedback loop here, which is temperature regulation. Okay, so if you go to Google and you type in temperature regulation feedback loop, you're going to find some examples of what this feedback loop looks like. Okay, the one that I went ahead and clicked on was this. Okay, and really what you're looking for is a complete description of what happens if your body gets out of homeostasis in that specific example. Okay, so if we're looking at this example, this is looking at you have a normal body temperature, and then with that, is it increasing? Is it rising above normal? Or is it dropping below normal? Okay. And so on these feedback loops, you're going to find two different sides of it generally. You're going to find if it goes above or below the homeostatic level. Okay. So this right here is exactly what you are drawing out on your poster. Okay. This is what you are showing me. Okay. So for instance, if you are the fourth example here, Patty going on a hike on a hot day, obviously her body temperature rises. Okay, so the side of this feedback loop that I'll be using is where it says the body temperature rises above normal. Okay, so what these feedback loops show us is what changes, so her body temperature rises, and then what happens in your body as a result of that to bring it back to normal. So this says body temperature rises above normal, nervous system signals dermal blood vessels to dilate and sweat glands to secrete. Okay, so as you read that, if you don't know what that means, I want you to dig more into that. You should be able to explain what your body is doing in response to this particular change. That's what I'm wanting you to explore. Okay, so the nervous system signals for blood vessels to dilate and sweat glands to secrete. Okay, and then because of that, the body heat is lost to the surroundings. So you give off heat. And when you give off that heat, your body temperature drops back to normal. Okay, so that is your feedback loop. Okay, what I'm asking you to do on your poster is draw that feedback loop out and explain it in relation to your example. So here I would say, Patty goes on a hike on a hot day and her body temperature rises above normal. Then you would say, Patty's nervous system signals blah, 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 whatever. Again, make this make sense. Keep it simple. If you don't know what dermal blood vessels are, go look it up, figure it out. If you don't know what dilate means, go look it up, figure it out, okay? And then you're going to explain this through the lens of your scenario, okay? If you have a scenario that you just can't figure out, you can't find a picture for it, you're just struggling hardcore, pick a different one, okay? Pick whichever one you want, okay? Again, the focus is these two skills here, okay? It's that you can develop a model based on evidence to illustrate the relationship between systems. You're showing me what is your body doing in relation to the changes that are occurring and showing a model of that. Okay, and then probably the most important one is you can construct an explanation based on viable and reliable evidence. Okay, so go find that evidence and then make sense of it. That's what I'm asking you to do here. Okay, so once you create that model, okay, which again, you already have that made for you on Google, you just need to make sense of the image. Okay, once you have that, you're then going to do these things here. Okay, these 6 things. Okay, you're going to summarize what your feedback loop is. Okay, so what does it do? Why is it important? What is it keeping in homeostasis? Obviously, for that example, it's keeping your body temperature in homeostasis. Okay, and then what is the homeostasis point? That's referring to what's the normal point. So what's your normal body temperature that your body wants to be at? Okay, then you're identifying if it's an example of positive or negative feedback. Okay, again, if you don't know that stuff and what that means, then you need to go to Canvas, you need to go to modules, and you need to go back and do the assignment that we did last Thursday and Friday, which is right here, homeostasis introduction lesson. And then there was this Google form that I had asked you to look at, and that was kind of looking at examples of positive and negative feedback. Okay, so then attempt to identify the stimulus receptor effectors. Okay, so again, on this lesson, these slides are from that. So if you open that up, I'm just going to show you real quick just so that everybody's aware. If you look at this slide right here, the stimulus, the receptor, the effector. Okay, so there's that information. You need to identify what those are in your specific example. Okay, and you're going to find those on your images that you find. Okay, then you're going to identify what body systems are involved. So is it the respiratory system, the cardiovascular system, the nervous system? Okay, again, do a little research, figure that out. Okay, you're going to explain how those body systems are involved. What do the body systems do? If your nervous system is involved because it releases signals to the brain, that's what it's doing. So explain that. Okay, and then lastly, what are the consequences if this feedback loop does not work? So if your body temperature doesn't go back to normal, why is that bad? How would that be detrimental to you on a cellular level? Biologically, how would that, what would that do? Okay, that's really what I want you to look at there. And again, you're going to have to do a little bit of research. Okay, so that is all that this is. Okay, I have a couple examples of people's. Literally is the drawing of the feedback loop with their explanations. That's all that I'm asking for you in this. Do not make it more complicated than what it needs to be. Okay? Email me if you have any questions.